Welcome to Wealth Matters podcast. How are you, Aaron?
Oh, pretty good. Alpesh, hanging out, feeling a little under the weather, as we were saying, but I'll survive
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
but you are here, right?
I'm here. I'm here. I don't think it's the coronavirus. I think I'm gonna make
No,
it.
no, it's the Corona beer.
Yeah, it's like I've felt that sick before, but no, not this time. I think I just got the flu, unfortunately.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, hope you feel better. So, how
Mhm.
did you get in real estate?
Well, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad initially, and
So,
that, so common, right?
so you
Everyone
drank
says,
the blue pill as well, right? Like
yeah,
I do,
yeah.
and most of my guests as well. They all read the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So,
Yeah, the purple book there. Yeah. And I read that around the end of college. So I graduated from Rowan University in 2009 as an entrepreneurial major. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I remember it was a really terrible job market to be graduating into. And the only company hiring at the job fair I remember was Enterprise Rent a Car. And they said I could get a job and work my way up. And by the time I was 65, maybe retire if I'm lucky. And it just didn't, seem like the pathway I wanted. I did want to be an entrepreneur, and I did want to create my own business. And I realized I had a passion for real estate, owning big commercial real estate. And I just had no idea how to do it and no money. So that was two challenges there. But
right.
I made a list of how to get there. And I said, okay, well, I want to create $1 million of cash flow, or actually, I think I said I want to create $1 million in net worth and $100,000 of cash flow a year. And I worked down the list. Okay, I got to make connections, save money, figure out the business, start teaming up with people with deeper pockets than me and earning their
Yes.
trust. And then I realized, so getting started as a realtor is actually probably the best way to get started. So I got my
Yeah.
real estate license, went back home and got my real estate license and started as a realtor and made about $500 in my first 6 months. Really tough market. No
It
one was.
is, yeah.
Yeah. But I eventually made some good money doing that, developed a team at Remax, and that helped me make my initial earnings and commissions so I could buy a six family with Seth Martinez, who's my partner today.
Oh, okay. So, you just mentioned about partner. How did you find your current partner?
Well, I was Seth's realtor at first, and no other realtors would work with him because all of his offers were so low that all the other realtors like it's a waste of time. And, but
But that
I
means he
liked him.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he's doing, right? Everyone else, like, those realtors who, like, you say, oh, I want to submit this offer. And they're like, oh, well, that's below list price. I'm worried we'll insult the seller. You're like,
Right,
who are you working for? So
right,
a lot of
exactly.
realtors like that. So basically, I was never that agent. I was always, I'm working for the buyer. If the seller's not a little insulted from your initial offer, it's probably too high.
To-
Uh, so,
you have to get a counter, right? If you don't, then
yeah.
there's something wrong.
Right. Well, you don't want to set the negotiating bar like super high off the bat. You want to start
Right.
low. And so basically, I started submitting a lot of offers for him. I had developed a team. I had an assistant, so I could kind of develop a system where it was pretty easy to move the offers forward
Right.
and get that going. And then, we started working really well together. And he had sold a medical billing business in New York City, and was using that money to buy buildings, small buildings, twos and threes, and small multifamilies. And but we realized we worked really well with each other. We complemented each other's weaknesses and strengths, and we bought a 6-unit property together. We renovated it. We refinanced our money back. We leased it all up. Refinanced our cash back out, plus a little cash on top, and we were off to the races to build up to about 100 units over 5 years.
And when was this?
Well, we bought our first building around 2012.
Okay, great. So, did you partner with others before you met Seth?
Sure, I had a flip. So my first partner was a fix and flip, and boy, like I totally hired the wrong partner. Classic story. The guy had a company that coached other businesses on how to succeed, and he filed bankruptcy. So it's pretty ironic.
No way.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I met this guy at some some networking event, and I decide he's a good guy to team up with. And I was a little
Right.
desperate, getting started in the industry, and he was
That's
much
what
older than me.
happens when you're
Yeah.
desperate, right?
Hmm. But he had no money, no credit. He couldn't
Right.
sign anything. I had to do, and then he ended up just getting the wrong insurance for the property and then stealing money from the account. And I had to like quit
Oh
claim
my
him off
God.
the deed. Yeah. I mean,
Really? Quit
yeah.
claim of the deed. Wow.
We
So,
caught him stealing, and he was
so
like basically like, all right, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to give you the money back, but I'll cooperate with quit claiming a deed. And,
wow.
so I learned at that point, you got to pick your partners and really try to
Right.
work with people that are successful and have a track record of success, not people that are complete losers.
So did you have worked with other partners before you built this successful, partnership?
That was pretty much my horror story as
Okay.
far as bad partners. I pretty quickly met Seth, and I guess I only had to learn that lesson once. Although I have taken on money partners and
Right.
given them voting rights that ended up
Yes.
not panning out. So that's been another scenario
Oh,
there.
really? What happened in that scenario?
Well, we gave voting rights to a very wealthy investor, and then at the refinance table, he said, "Nope, I'm not going to sign. I want
Oh,
more money.
wow.
I want this amount of money. I want this amount of equity." And we realized we had our backs up against the wall, and we didn't really have the right attorney review the operating agreement for us. One of those scenarios where we kind of jumped into about
Right. I
8
see.
properties with a high net worth individual who was a little more experienced in business at the time, and just totally signed the wrong documents and got pretty much taken for on a number of properties. And
Right.
we recognized that day that some individuals' money isn't worth it. If you can't trust
Right,
them.
right. And that's a great lesson, right? Because you and I are in this business for a while, and then we do. I do joint venture partnership, TIC, right? But also I raise capital for small multifamily to large multifamily. So and then I've learned that if you are bringing high net worth individual, the people, the person who knows this,
Mhm.
then it's better to have them as passive because
Mhm.
and just let them participate in the equity, right, instead of giving them voting rights and
100%. And that's why we structure our syndication just like that today. Our investors are non-voting members. They're passive investors, 100%. And that really is better because you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. And Seth and I,
exactly.
we're
Yeah,
professionals at what we do. We have our own management company.
yeah,
We have a system in place. And quite frankly, when other investors want to help pick out the next tenant or whatever color we're going to paint the lobby, it just gets in the way and slows things down. So it's
right,
better to
right.
have, just like a company, you need
Yeah,
decision makers,
and it's win-win, right? So even
Yeah.
for them, they don't have to actually involve actively, right? It's all
Mhm.
passive,
Mhm.
and they can still tag along, right, if they want to learn. uh,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
it
I mean,
makes sense. So what
mhm.
makes your partnership work?
Well, I think Seth and I really do complement each other's. Is that complement each other's weaknesses? Is that the saying, or is it complement each other's strengths? I always get that
Yeah,
confused.
yeah. So yeah, strengths, right?
Strengths. Okay. Yeah, because basically, I'm a good public speaker. I enjoy sales and
I
marketing,
can
branding.
tell.
Thank you. And I'm most comfortable in front of a room full of
Yeah,
people, selling my products. So that's where Seth definitely isn't comfortable. Seth's very comfortable managing a job site, managing a management company, making systems in the business that work really well, whether we're here or not. So he's good at working and creating systems in the business and creating operations into the business, which is so technical. And really, for guys like me that like to just do the marketing, do the public speaking, and be out there, we're more like big picture guys, type
right,
B. And then Seth is definitely more type A, where he analyzes the incoming buildings initially and just deals with the property management much more closely. And the day-to-day operations are so important in syndication.
oh yes, yes.
Your work starts when you buy the building,
Yeah, the operations are the key, right? Means, of course, every aspect is important, like finding the deal, underwriting, due diligence, operations. But after you get the deal, after you get the money, you got to deliver, right? And that's the operations is the biggest or the most important aspect. And
Mhm.
just to add to what you had done with Sage, I have an IT consulting business, and we did the same. I have another partner, and I had never partnered with anyone, but somehow I stumbled upon him, right? And then
Mhm.
he was at that point, and he's the speaker. He can talk and find business, but I was the one who could deliver, right? So I was
Mhm.
in that business. I was the hands-on.
Mm.
all the time on my toes, working with the client and the vendors, etc., and delivering.
Mhm.
But now the script has flipped. When I moved into real estate, I like doing the, speaking part,
Mhm.
and I prefer that I hand over operations to, good operators, as well as I have VA who can take care of the day-to-day stuff, right? So,
Sure, sure.
so it's interesting, when you mentioned, but how when you move from a business to another, how things could change, right? It's
Mhm.
even your personality changes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think Seth and I can fill in our jobs for each other at the right times too. If I need to
Right,
manage a contractor, or I need to go out with
right,
Nina and review a situation on a property or something, I can do that, or underwrite a building. And if Seth needs to meet with an investor and explain our investment opportunities and how it works for them, he can do that as well. But we definitely have our specialties. And yeah, I mean, it works. It's worked out for 10 years, and I definitely had the bad experiences with a
right.
couple types of partners. So, it's kind of like dating, having a couple bad relationships with him.
Yes, yes, yeah. Partnership is like a marriage, right?
It
So
really
you
is.
got to find the right partner.
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
but the good thing is you learn the lessons from the bad marriage, right? So that's
Yeah.
the important piece here, right? You may not find the right person in the very first time, right? But
Hmm.
as long as you learn from those mistakes, when you see someone, right, that this
Yeah,
is
and
the right person.
kind of know what you're looking for too.
Yeah.
I think
Oh
the first time,
yes.
first time I teamed up with someone, I was just at a networking event, and the guy was impressed with
Yeah.
me and wanted to flip a house, and I was like, sure, where do I sign? And totally got taken. So know what you're
Right.
looking for. If I knew the type of partner I was
That's
looking
the
for, I
key.
wouldn't have teamed up with him.
That's a great advice.
Mhm.
So, why is partnership important? Uh, can't you do this alone, or can't Sage do this alone?
I know there are guys that are, kind of the head honchos in their company, and they just have support staff. But I
Right,
think that for the most part, any good syndication is run with a partnership, just like any good company kind of has a
right.
CEO and a COO, and
CFOs, yeah, CFO,
exactly.
CIO, yeah,
So, and it's when you're building a small business, you really need another person to bounce ideas off of. If
right,
Seth is looking at a property for 2 years, and he's in touch with the seller, and he's building rapport with them, and he's going to the property, he's trying to make the deal work, and then he brings me in on the deal right before we're about to do the letter of intent, and I underwrite it again. I'm going to look at it with different eyes than he did, right? And I'm going to
right.
be more pessimistic, really, than he will be, because he's kind of
Yeah,
fallen in love
he's
with
the
the
one.
deal.
Yes,
Right.
right.
And that just happens. So when you're making big decisions on commercial real estate, you really have to see the value in the building. We look at so many buildings. So by having another, experienced mind to bounce properties off of, or
Right.
strategies of business, it's so important. We're in contact every single day. It really is a marriage, and you have to know your roles and kind of stay in your
Uh-huh.
lane in the
Uh-huh.
same way,
Yeah.
and support the other person as best you can. But we're not afraid to tell each other, hey, you need to get this done, or hey, what about this
Right.
thing? We talked about having that done last week. Obviously respectfully, but
Right.
we can push each other as well in the right ways.
Right, right. So you should be open to the feedback, right, and not get offended.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Exactly.
can you give us an example, maybe your last deal or any other deal where having the partner, made sense or helped you deliver, right? Or maybe you backed out from that deal because one of you found, let's say said thought this is a great deal, but then you found, oh, this does not make sense just because of this. Oh, yeah. If you have an
Yeah, I mean,
example. Sorry,
all
I'm
the
putting you
time.
on spot there.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a building we were looking at, a $13 million building, and Seth had been, really
Wow.
chasing it down for some time, and he showed it to me before making the letter of intent, and I was, unfortunately, I had to rain on his parade and say, no, that we're overpaying for the property, and here, X, Y, and Z. Here's why. So that's just a good example of us kind of pushing ideas off each other. Same thing with the other way. Sometimes, as far as with fundraising, I tend to be very open to people. I'm always available for phone calls and
Right.
emails and meetings. And in fact, you kind of want to be a little less available, so people appreciate your time and your knowledge.
That's true. That's a good advice for me.
Right.
That's what I
Mhm.
do right now. I'm always available, always responding, text, email, phone calls. But
Sure.
yeah, it makes sense because sometimes that's all you end up doing whole day.
Right, right. And there's a lot of people in this business that are just really looking for a free lesson. And that's
Yeah,
fine. We
yeah,
give free education. I'm doing a seminar
right.
tonight. I'm going to talk for 2 hours about our business. It's completely
Right.
free. I give you dinner. Heck,
Uh-huh.
I mean, we do this every single week here. So
Oh,
it's,
wow.
yeah, yeah. And it's all free information. And a lot of people just come to learn, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We get that, but you do have to pick and choose who you spend your
Yeah.
time
I'll
with.
be there next time for just free dinner.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
No,
You'll be the
I
only
need
one.
to I need to make a trip to New Jersey soon. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome
So
here.
I have another question for you. What's the best advice you would give yourself if you could go back in time?
I would say stick to what we were good at, what we are good at. So Seth and I flipped about 50 houses in our career, and we made a lot of money doing mid and low level flips and in inner
Okay.
city areas. And we still have some small flips going on. But then we said, hey, we're such good house flippers. Why don't we flip $1 million properties? We'll make millions of dollars. So we,
Right.
used a lot of the same strategies and contractors to renovate high end homes, and it just did not pan out properly. With our
Yeah.
contractors not being able to get the jobs done properly and the quality of
And
work
you have
not.
so much money just in one transaction, right? So you
Oh
have
my
a
gosh.
lot tied into it.
You
Instead,
know,
you could have diversified if you had two of the $500,000 homes, right? So I
e-
think,
exactly, and Seth and I are very good at buying mismanaged properties and improving the management of it. And that's our specialty. So we've
okay.
always been good at that. Our original business model, 10 years ago said we want to get to 1,000 units over 3 years. Okay. Now
Wow.
we got to
That's
about,
that's
yeah,
ambitious.
it's very ambitious. It wasn't
Yeah.
really realistic because we really didn't have our relationships in place yet, so completely ambitious, but we've always been ambitious entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
And
but why not aim high, right? If you
right,
you
right.
got to aim high to be able to, deliver, get to
What's
some
the
point,
harm? Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly. So, basically, we were able to get to about 100 units in 5 years, and we realized at that point, when we got to 100 units, it's quality over quantity. We were not
Uh-huh.
cash flowing on a lot of the properties,
Oh,
and we
really?
were like, "Why aren't we cash flowing?" Well, because they're in Class D areas, and
Oh.
no one really wants to live there, and they're not of good quality properties. So we are always dealing with units getting beat up and stuff. So we learned that if it works really well on paper, if it's Class D real estate, it may not make sense.
No, no, not for long
Stop.
term.
Yeah, yeah. So we kind of stopped with Class D, and now we focus more on Class B and Class C. And we just got off. We did well wholesaling. We made over $1 million one year wholesaling, which we
Oh,
put a property under
wow.
contract,
Oh,
sign it.
that's pretty high.
Yeah. So we did
Wholesaling.
a lot of that. We did a lot of fix and flips, and this was between like 2014 and 2018, and it was good. It taught us a lot, and we built our connections to kind of fundraise to the level we're at today. But I have to say, as far as like net profits go, flipping is not a great way to make money.
No, yeah, because you got
It's
to pay taxes. People don't realize.
taxes. You get net.
it's
There's so many moving
it's
pieces
an
if you want to scale up.
it's an active business. You have to be thoroughly involved day to day, every day. You got to be there, right? It's a whole
Every
different.
day.
Yeah, you got to have
Yeah,
S corp. I tell people if you are just going to do one or two flips, that's okay, but otherwise, you have to run it as an active business. You got to,
yeah, yeah,
and
and
it's
it's so
transactional.
precarious.
And it's all
Right.
transactional. You got to buy it right as well as sell it right.
Sure, sure. And you got to fix it right. You're really running a
Yes,
construction business.
that's true.
It's a shame that HGTV says, "Hey, go flip a house, start your real estate investment career." That's like the hardest way to make a buck in real estate.
They're the ones who are telling everyone, that flipping is the easiest way to make money.
No way. No way. It's just the sexiest because you fix up something that's
Yes.
broken, but
Yeah.
it's really silly. The easiest buck I ever made in real estate was being a listing agent or owning apartment buildings,
Yes,
you know,
wholesaling or yeah, listing agent. Yes, correct.
Yeah, yeah, so that was good. But also now that we have the management company in place, we start to really cash flow off these properties. So,
Oh, okay.
now that I have my infrastructure in place properly, some of the best investments I ever made are small apartment buildings here in North Jersey,
Nice.
which we do a lot of now.
So it's mainly when you mention property management company because now you have scalability, right? So instead of
Correct.
you having a one manager for 10 units, now you that one manager and the entire team can manage so many units. So yeah, the scalability is so important.
Yeah, I mean, Seth and I were flipping about 12 to 14 properties a year. We had all these crazy construction projects going on. We were working like crazy hours, and it's not sustainable,
No,
and then
no.
it's hard to find good deals. The resale value is slowing down. So, the most sustainable income is, in my opinion, apartment buildings, residential real estate in good
Yes,
areas.
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, it's so there's always going to be a demand, especially here in Jersey. There's really a shortage of
Yes.
houses. So
Yeah, it's everywhere. I'm in San
yeah,
Francisco Bay Area, same issue
oh
all
yeah.
over the country now, affordable housing, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's awesome. Thank you so much. So let's take a quick break, and after the break, we'll discuss about, well, where do you operate and what's your strategy.
Sure.
Welcome back to Wealth Matters Podcast. I'm chatting with Aaron Fragnito regarding why and how partnership works. But I also want to talk about, because he did just mention New Jersey market. And I'm from New Jersey as well. I moved to Bay Area about 15 years ago. And I go back quite often because I have family there. So, and I never, because I look at properties there. Of course, I look at properties here and there, but I never see that the properties meet 1% rule. So,
Mm.
how do you make numbers work in market like New Jersey, right? And I also don't see much appreciation. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Mm. Hmm.
some of the areas where I saw, like one of my friend has owned a property in North Jersey, in really nice
Hmm.
part of the town,
Hmm.
and he has owned it for 10 years, and he bought it for I think 650 grand,
Hmm.
and it's barely 700. Whereas if you had a property 10 years ago in San Francisco Bay Area for 650, it would be at least 1.5 to 1.7 million right now,
Right.
right? So
Right.
but we don't have cash flow at all. So I
Hmm.
was always curious, how does markets like New York, New Jersey work when there is no cash flow and maybe there is not enough
Sure.
appreciation?
No, no, yeah. Well, North Jersey is a huge market. There's so much inventory. There's so many
That's
different
true.
types of cities. You can go to Hoboken and
Yep.
Jersey
And I
City,
like Hoboken.
right? And
It's
the
one.
cap rates are like 4 to 3%.
Right.
They're all
Yep.
Class A real estate. And
Yep.
20 years ago, that market did not exist in Jersey City. They literally
Right.
created it in the last 20 years. And now you want a good deal in Jersey City, forget it. It's way, way too
No.
expensive, especially Hoboken. So we made a killing in Newark through the years. We bought around Rutgers University. We bought
Uh-huh.
around
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Rutgers is great. So we bought around there. We bought the downtown area, the Ironbound area,
Okay.
really just skyrocketed through the years.
All
And
right.
you don't have to necessarily be in those markets to do well. In this Jersey market, you can still cash flow on buildings if you buy right and manage them right.
Right.
But we do not buy Class A real estate. We buy
Which
really
makes sense.
B minus real estate. And we just try to reposition a lot of mismanaged properties, but it's really hard to find a good deal.
Right.
We'll do almost $10,000 of marketing per month to worn out
Wow.
landlords, and
Wow.
that gets us maybe one deal every 3 to 4 months.
So,
Okay.
so what's your strategy now? You just mentioned. So mostly, I'm assuming, because you are already a realtor, you don't go through a broker, but you mostly focus on like directly connecting with the sellers or the owners, right?
We try to, but I do have very good broker relationships, and we're buying a building right now through a broker. I
Okay.
mean, they brought it to us first. There were higher offers on the table. They went with ours because they know us, and
Okay.
so I don't care if other people are making their commission. That's fine.
No,
I'm really,
yeah.
not wearing my realtor hat that
You have
much
to
these
buy it
days.
right. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter what others are doing, right? What others are getting
exactly.
paid.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good system there. But I'd say about half the properties we buy are through brokers. The other half is through direct mail marketing. And it kind of depends on the size of the property too. The bigger ones tend to be through brokers. The smaller ones tend to be through direct mail marketing.
So can you talk about one of your best performing asset right now? How you acquired that asset and what did you do with it to raise rents or whatnot?
Sure. Well, we buy lots of different properties. I can go over a 25 unit we just bought and
Sure.
resold a couple years ago. My investors made a nice
Yeah, that would
11.5%
be great
cash.
actually, where you have closed the cycle, right? So yeah, if you can
Yeah,
talk about that one.
right. Which is pretty rare. We usually don't sell them. We usually hold on to them long term and
Okay.
refinance out. I'll talk a little bit about that. But basically, we just sold a 25 unit in South Jersey, and one of the reasons we sold is because it was about 90 minutes away, so kind of hard to manage, bit of a
Right.
hike.
Right.
We don't go more than an hour really.
Yeah.
And secondly, it's not playing off that North Jersey market. So we like to
Uh,
buy in areas that get you into Manhattan in less than an hour.
mm-hmm.
And we find that those areas hold their value when the market's
Right.
hot, when the
Yeah.
market's down. So
Right.
they're a little more
That's a
recession
good
resistant.
strategy. Yeah,
hmm
that's good.
Exactly. And we did very well in Newark through the years with that strategy. When people were saying, "Oh my gosh, how are you buying in Newark? There's so much crime," da da
Yeah,
da.
yeah, Newark is
And
scary. But
now I'm laughing all the way to the bank.
yeah,
10
but
years
then
ago,
again, it's path of progress, and Newark is central. So
right,
you got
right.
the yeah, you got the if I remember, it's what the train system is called. The station Metro Park is in Edison, and then Newark has the big station. The yeah, so
Yeah, Newark
yeah,
Penn.
yeah, Penn Station. So you can go to Philly, New York, all over, right? So yeah.
Yeah, Newark Penn gets you all throughout really the
Uh,
country. You could take Amtrak out of there.
oh
It's like
yes,
Penn Station.
Amtrak. Yep.
Yeah, it's like Penn Station. It's a
Yeah.
major national station.
Correct.
So, yeah, I mean, Newark has a lot of potential there. Patterson also has a train station that gets you into Manhattan in less than
Right.
an hour. And we see the Patterson, New Jersey being the next market that
Oh
really has the
really?
best cap rates, the
So
best ROI.
Patterson is close to Lodi and all, right? Is that the market?
It's up in Bergen
Okay.
County. Yeah, it's
Okay.
about 30 minutes north
Okay.
of Newark. And,
Yes.
it's been plagued with crime and crooked politicians for
Oh,
years.
really?
And,
Okay.
so definitely one of those cities you got to pick and choose where you buy. But
I see.
there's so much going on in that city. There's about 15 high-end developments going on right
Oh,
now.
wow.
And
Okay.
they are creating the Class A market for high-end, swimming pool buildings,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
they're creating that right now. And
So,
so
yeah,
doesn't even exist yet in Patterson. They're going to create
that's
that.
amazing. Yeah, so
We
basically
buy.
it's getting gentrified, right? Moving from Newark to yeah, it's kind of path of progress, and you want to be in that path
Yeah,
of progress to be able to, of course, get cash flow plus
right.
appreciation.
Yeah, yeah. But in addition to that, we look at a lot of deals. Most of them are not good, so we really try to pick good deals. And then if you make your money when you buy and you have really good management of them, as we do, the cash flow comes. We have a lot of different value add strategies, and we have tenants lined up out the door to get into our units. That's never a
Oh,
problem.
nice.
So the rent's strong here as long as you know how to work with the rent control and everything like that.
Right. Right. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, can you recommend any apps or websites you use for real estate?
Well, we just created a website called njfixeruppers.com that has a bunch of fixer-uppers in New
Oh,
Jersey.
okay.
So, but I mean, I have LoopNet. I've looked at deals on LoopNet. They're really not. If you
No,
want to find a
no.
deal in North Jersey,
That's where deals go to die, right? That's what they
yeah,
say. LoopNet is where after everything's done, no one wants to hit, then it's on
yeah.
LoopNet.
100% right. So I mean, there's no secret. It's hard work. It's looking at a lot of deals. It's answering a lot of leads, doing a lot of marketing, spending the
Right,
money on direct mail, and taking brokers out to lunch so they give you the deal first.
right. Oh, yeah. But do you use any apps or websites to, let's say, manage your operations, property management, or any
Sure.
other, website to look at, let's say, rent comps or whatnot?
Yeah, yeah. We use AppFolio, which you
Okay,
probably
yeah,
heard of.
that's
Yep.
the yeah, almost every property manager, or they
Yep.
use Rent Manager or AppFolio.
Right. One or the other. Yeah. So I mean,
Right,
it's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's almost like having a second employee.
right,
We keep a lean shop here. We have one property manager that works with AppFolio to manage about 75 doors right now, and everyone else is an independent contractor. I have
right.
3 virtual assistants, but it's really me, Seth, and Lena here running the show, and we have a number of independent contractors and virtual assistants to help out as well.
That's awesome. And
Mhm.
any business or real estate book you recommend?
Well, I mean, Rich Dad Poor Dad did inspire me to do all
Right,
this, and then I read, David Lindahl and Trump University, and they all told me how easy it would be to
right.
develop a real estate investment company. So, but they did explain the basics of it and everything. Whatever you do, don't go out and spend $30,000 on some book and CD.
That's
It's
yeah.
high pressure sales
Uh,
event. Do not do that. I meet people all the time that say,
And me
I
too.
did I did have $50,000. Then I spent it on a book and a CD that I could get on eBay for
Right,
$500.
right.
And now I don't have the 50,000 anymore. Can I invest in real estate? No, you can't. Your
No, you had.
50,000's gone. I don't start saving again. So those guru sales pitches, they're
Yeah,
full of it.
and I highly recommend spending money on education,
Mhm.
right? So, but I would go to different conferences, right? So I fly out to so many conferences, but whenever in that conference they start selling, like
Mhm.
okay, I'm done here. I would
Yeah,
spend a grand and make connections in the conference, right? Meet the
sure.
like-minded people. Then spend 30, 40 grand and then not do anything about it. I just met
Right.
someone, and I don't want to take the name of the guru here, because I know some of them personally as well, and I'm pretty sure you do. So this person has already spent about 40 grand with the guru 3 years ago. And I just asked him again, oh, did he buy any multifamily? Nope, nada. Like,
Uh,
you didn't do anything with it, right? So it's
well, the craziest thing to me is when they spend the 30 to 50,000, and then when we sit down to do a session to educate them on the investment opportunity, the questions are just complete one-on-ones. No offense, I mean, that's fine. We're here to educate
right, but
investors,
that's not good.
but I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to be educated,
Right,
and
you should be ready.
a lot of these guru stuff, it's just such a joke.
Right, it is.
So
Yeah,
it's
you.
so much, it's overkill. It's almost
Yeah,
information.
and so I tell them, unless you pull the trigger, you are not going to learn. Everything is all theoretical. Let's say if a doctor learned about heart surgery in school, and if
Mhm.
that doctor does not perform a heart surgery in his entire career, he's not going to learn any. He wouldn't even know how to do
Right,
it.
right.
So it's
Well,
the same
that's
thing.
yeah. That's why we developed the Learn and Earn system, because I give investors all of our documents and our spreadsheets and our contracts and all the stuff we use to analyze the buildings
That's
and make the
amazing.
offers.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I just give that. It's a whole
Not
Google
everyone
file.
does that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if they're investing with us, I give that to the investor, and that is for people who are a little more hungry and
Right,
really want
right.
to
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah, you
completely
don't want to give
digest.
it to everyone because most of them don't even look at it, right? So the people
Right,
who
right.
really ask, right? So when
Mhm,
I was, investing in syndication, I will ask, and
mhm,
most of the time I won't get anything, right?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah,
So then I said,
exactly.
okay, I got to learn and do on my own pretty much.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty good system. It's learn and earn. A lot of people like that. Yeah.
Awesome. So just the last question: how can my listeners reach out to you?
Sure. So our website is peoplescapitalgroup.com, and we're located here in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. So we do seminars, we do webinars. We have webinars literally every week. So if you're not local, you can check us out on meetup.com. We have a networking group called New Jersey Real Estate Network.
Okay.
So New Jersey Real Estate Network has like over 3,500 members. It's a good,
Nice.
RIA there online. So if you want to get access to the webinars and whatnot, go check us out there, New Jersey Real Estate Network on meetup.com. And our website again is peoplescapitalgroup.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aaron, and feel better.
Thank you. Hopefully I will. We'll see.
Yeah.